What's up, guys? It's KingDaddyDMAC, and welcome back to another episode of Mekanism ModSauce. All right. How's everybody doing today? I'm doing pretty good. I am going to remember at the beginning of the episode, we're going to check out some new wings. We are going to swap up our wings. We really got to make a wing randomizer or something like that, don't you think? Don't you think it would make this so much easier instead of doing our eeny, meeny, miny, mo? You know what? The only wings we haven't worn yet is the invisible wings. And I know they're kind of like not really wing. They are wings, but they're invisible. You can't see them. So I guess that's the last one. Then next time we'll make a wing randomizer. They'll choose the wings for us. Pretty cool. What do you think of my invisible wings? You like them? Aren't they pretty? If you're cool, you can see them. That's right. So I couldn't see him though, so I guess I'm not cool. So what's going on? I've been extending out the paths. I've been trying to slowly clean up the area. I know a lot of the colors and everything are still kind of bleh. We're going to fix that up. But we got to clear out like the areas, all these temporary things that I have set up. So we're going to be doing the mechanism thing today. We're finally going to get to it. We're going to get that, what is it? The 5 times ore production. I think it's going to be super cool, but we need a larger area to do it. And I'd like to start, we should really be testing stuff in their own rooms. So I got a room marked out that I want to use for the mechanism. So super cool. We're going to move all this stuff over there and start going through all the different steps. It's kind of a lot. Like, it's a lot of stuff. It's definitely something that you'd want to be walked through. So I'm going to show you. Another thing, take note. Over here, yes, it looks like this is all part of the same thing, but it cuts off right here. This thing is from our HermitCraft, and this was our thing that refilled our oxygen and put it into our space bag. Remember that? Slip's actually just starting to get into HermitCraft. He made an awesome missile launcher room. We still got to do that at some point. Anyway, this whole thing, yeah, it was refilling all of our oxygen. So it was super cool. I didn't want to take it out because you never know when you go to space. You never know. You don't want to just end up there with no oxygen. But I did notice since the update, look at that. The extra utility pipes that used to power this no longer power it. It doesn't connect in. That's a huge pain in the nuts. So this whole thing's not even working now. We don't have any power in it. Oh, and it does say RF. This is so weird. I don't even know, guys. But it's not working right now. So we're going to take this out. Don't want it to take up space. And we'll go back and fix it later. Figure out what's going on. And then this thing, the refinery, which, by the way, is so slow. I would never use this for refining oil. For anything else, refining fuel, oil into fuel. But it's not working anymore either. But you know what? I think we have more fuel than we'll ever need. 32,000 buckets. Or 32 million millibuckets. It's craziness. So anyway, I'm going to pack all this stuff up. And I'll pick one of the rooms. I'll just throw the stuff in there and we'll get to it eventually. So all that's going to get packed up. And then this stuff, I'm going to move over. I think because we have this is kind of like thus far our mechanism room. I want to separate this. And I think I'm going to make this corner room the mechanism room. And then this was our HermitCraft like treasure room or just in general treasure room. I'm going to move all this stuff, I think, to a different corner. Maybe that corner over there. And that will be our new treasure room. Over on that side because we haven't worked over to there yet. So anyway, I'm going to get busy packing. Oh, and one last other thing before we cut out and get to work. That I want to show you guys is, yes, ME storage monitor. I've known about these. We've used these in past seasons. They're a little bit different, but yet kind of the same. Instead of having to like go and check how many stars and skeleton skulls and stuff that we have, our skull thing's been doing awesome. I can just set this right down. I can then, and this, I should probably show you the it's really not that complicated recipe, but it's just the illuminated panel, any one of those, and then a level emitter. So not that complicated. I believe it does take a channel, which I wasn't very happy about that. I'll have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure it takes one of your AE channels, but you can just right click any object on there and it'll tell you exactly how many you have in your system. You can just be walking by and just always see that. So that's really cool. That's something really handy that we want to always have out there just so that we can see, because this is like, it's like a coal, just super coal, just like the godly coal. To burn off in our generators. So pretty cool. Lets us know we have plenty. We have oh so much. So very cool. Anyway, I'm going to get packing. I'm going to get all this stuff moved around. And yeah, let's go through the mechanism stuff together. Oh my goodness. So I know why I chose that room to be our treasure room. It's because a lot of this stuff, like, it only faces a certain way when you move it. And this is really irking me. I really don't know how to change the direction of this creeper. You can't, like, wrench him or anything. It's not a chest. So when you pick it up, it's always going to be facing that same direction. So I guess if we had it on this side, but it's not going to be good with, like, our entrance and exit of it. So I don't know, maybe I'll have to find another statue to match up with it on that side. But I think it's pretty cool. And these chests, I thought I'd have problems with. But check this out. So if you put a chest like that, it's aimed that way. You can't wrench it, unfortunately, these ones. But if you want to change the direction of it, check this out. So all you got to do is put that down, make it a double chest, move it. Then that one's going to be the wrong way. You move that one there, and then move it. And there you go, and you can change the directions of those. So that's pretty cool. That's at least I'm happy about. So anyway, let's put these back in place. And we still got to get... Oh, what the heck? What the heck? Okay, can I get it? Can I get it? Now you the wrong way. Why you wrong way? Go right way. Okay. And you go there. Okay, we all good now. We all good. That's good enough. Yes, I'm going to get back to work. Holy cow. I tell you, I ended up recording everything, doing everything. It was over a 2-hour recording. It was crazy. This is one of the biggest pains in the butt and most confusing things I've ever had to do. It's really not that bad, but I wasn't super familiar with it. And there's a couple of different types of, like, concepts or, like, materials in this that don't work with conventional pipes that I'm used to. It was a process, and after seeing how long it took to, like, put it together, even already after knowing what I had to do, I think it's a better idea I just walk you through what's going on, just so that we can cover the entire thing in this episode. Oh my goodness, it's a lot of stuff. I have to say, it's a lot of stuff. It's up there with probably trying to auto-craft this suit, which, mind you, took us 3-4 episodes to do. Anywho, let's go through the amazing mod of Mekanism, which is going to give us up to 5 times the ore production. Yes, I'm going to prove this. I want to prove this. Let's show you. At this point, if I put in 1 iron ore, it's going to go through all the stages. So went through there, got made into iron slurry, which is then being made into clean slurry, which then gets made into crystals, which then gets made into clumps, I believe. Yep, clumps, which then gets made into dirty dust, which then turns into the normal dust, which then the normal dust is burned into ingots. So you can see it takes a while to go through all the machines even. And I have these, like, clocked up, max speed, everything. Of course we can do the factories. That's the one nice thing. I don't think these have factories, but all these machines should be able to work in those factories. And of course, let's take a look, like a factory in Mekanism. Let's flip this on real quick. You can see the factories, bam. Does a ton. So we can make this faster. It is a doable thing. But let's see, we're up to 5 ingots for 1 ore. That is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. But yes, it's a tedious process. Let's try and walk through it. So, going through all the machines. Energized smelter. This is just like an electric furnace. You guys know that. If you were to take one, it doesn't do any multiplication of ores. It just is going to smelt it down 1 ingot per 1 ore, just like a furnace, but instead of coal, it uses energy. Next, we have the enrichment chamber. The enrichment chamber doubles, and it's basically going to turn any ore into dust. And you get 2 dust, which then gets smelted up 2 ingots, so it doubles. The next thing, if you want to triple, these 2 machines right here are both required. The crusher, as you saw before, that just made, I think it was the dirty dust. This did the clumps. It turns the clumps into the dirty dust. But you cannot put it doesn't do anything if you put those in directly. You have to use these two in conjunction with each other. So this one is the one where you can put stuff in. So I can put stuff in, it's going to go through. Now, this guy is going to require a gas, and this is where the rabbit hole starts. Mind you, I said starts. Gases is a new thing. We haven't dealt with gases before. They're a little bit of a pain in the butt, mostly because of the fact at least I only noticed it could be transferred with this pressurized tube. That's fine and all. Pressurized tubes, steel and glass. But I don't like using Mekanism wires. I just wanted to use extra utilities for everything. I prefer extra utilities. I think it's better, and you can combine both power, items, and liquids all through the same line. So that's what I prefer. Also, I think Mekanism currently is having issues with working with Tesseracts. There's also no way to wirelessly pass gas. There's no way to wirelessly pass gas. That sounds funny. You can't send gas wirelessly, and that's not cool. So then you end up having way more wires. Plus, the storage for gas, I don't think is nearly as big. There might be able to, like there's these gas tanks, and you're able to get gas that way through these guys, but their max storage is only 96,000. Whereas like with the barrels, you can see with the liquid, the max is 256,000. And I don't know if the conversion is 1-to-1 for like liquid and gas. I didn't check that, but I'm pretty sure doing it the way I did it is probably the smarter idea. Not to mention we can even do bedrockium drums. So anyway, let's see how you make oxygen. So oxygen, let me show you my process, is made through this electrolytic separator. Okay, it's pretty easy. You just pump water in. I have water coming through our tesseract right here. There's lots of ways to get water. I don't think I have to explain that to you guys how you get water. But anyway, pumping water in from the bottom, that's cool. It goes in. And then the only other thing is I have power going in the top. Doesn't matter where you connect the power in these sides. Then on the sides, I have gas coming out. Both these machines, these rotary machines, they're pretty neat. What they're doing is they're converting the gas into a liquid. Now, that's the positive part of this. There is a liquid version of every single gas. I don't know why it's showing me water vapor. So like water vapor, liquid chlorine, normal chlorine. So that's cool. So what I'm doing, my little strategy here, is I'm putting a rotary, one of these rotary things next to each thing, converting the gas into a liquid. So here we have the liquid oxygen, which is what we need, the normal gas oxygen, but liquid oxygen, and then we have liquid hydrogen. So the liquid oxygen, if I hop around and look around the back here, I'm using the extra utilities method of enter transmitter. Those guys, not very expensive, made in the QED. We've done it tons of times, but is basically a way to wirelessly send items, power, or liquid. So we're choosing liquid. You have to name it an anvil, then shift right click it in your hand to make into a private signal. So right here, this guy, this oxygen, is being sent around to the back here into another node, and oxygen, cool. So then our rotary thing is receiving the liquid oxygen, changing it back into the gas, and then being sent into our purification chamber that gets the oxygen and is able to go through. So cool. Now, if you thought that was bad, that was nothing compared to the next one, the chemical injection chamber. Now, this guy requires hydrogen chloride. Okay, sounds kind of yucky, kind of not yucky. I don't know. How do you get hydrogen chloride? To get that, you need chlorine and hydrogen. Now, in that process we were just doing over here, you can see we're using the oxygen, but we have the excess hydrogen from that. So you know what? That's good. We have extra hydrogen. What do we do with the hydrogen? Or how do we then, what do we do to get the hydrogen chloride? So that's cool. We got the hydrogen required. Now to get the chlorine. Chlorine's a little bit of a pain. What you got to do, and it's also kind of the hold up in the whole process. What you have to do is, starting off, is you got to get a ton of salt. Salt you mine. Not hard to get. We got tons of quarries doing salt. We got salt for days. The salt is then sent over in the item form into this chemical oxidizer. That changes salt into brine. Okay? Notice it's gaseous brine. Okay. So then you got to change this, and this is required. This isn't just me trying to be fancy. The gas into the liquid is then sent over and is required to go into this next setup of machines. So you can see I have this wire down. That's the brine, the liquid brine. It goes over, and because of these pipes, because they are energy items, liquid isn't sent through them. So it's being sent down through here and then into this machine right here, this electrolytic separator. So now this separator, if we want to look at the recipe here, this is where we use this over here. Water went in, oxygen, hydrogen, and this one, liquid brine goes in. And let's look at that recipe. Liquid brine goes in and it makes chlorine and sodium. Cool. So that's how you get the chlorine. So sodium, don't know of any uses for it. It doesn't show up in the recipes. I'm hoping maybe you could do it to get salt later on, so you don't have to have mined salt. So who knows? Maybe it's just not used for anything yet. I don't know. You can let me know in the comments otherwise. But yes, so we have to the right is where we're getting the chlorine. You can see, I told you it was the bottleneck. We're almost always out of it. So the chlorine goes into this guy right down here, which is almost always empty. So you can see we probably, if we wanted to do a mass production of this, we would need to have a whole ton of these things doing the brine, and then probably a bunch of the things, actually we don't need, just the brine's the hold up. That's the problem. So anyway, we got the chlorine, which then goes to this wireless transmitter, and that bad boy pops up, I believe, to this machine. Yes, to right here. So right here we have receiving the chlorine. You can see it pops through for a second. That's being changed now because we were in the liquid form and we had to change it over to the liquid form. Yes, so I switched it again. This wasn't required to change the liquid, but I made it into a liquid so we could wirelessly do it up to here. We got to then change it from the liquid back into the gas. So we have the hydrogen. So that's hydrogen. That's chlorine. Goes into a now chemical infuser. Okay. Chlorine, hydrogen, hydrogen chloride. Cool. So then the hydrogen chloride I have pumped up to here, which is now then changing it from the gas form into the liquid form, into that drum, to this ender receiver, which then comes out over here. So let's see how chloride into the machine, and this is going to get us to the 4 times. Phew. That was a lot. That drove me nuts. And guess what, guys? That's as far as I was the last episode. So now to get the 5 times, it required 1, 2, 1. But of course, this machine, so I'm saying the number of machines required. This process here takes 3. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So these machines, these first 2 machines, the crystallizer, it doesn't require anything extra, which is cool. It's just going to, in the recipes, require slurry. Okay? And it's the clean slurry. So that's all you got to do is input clean slurry. It will output a crystal, which then this will take care of. This one, you have to input water into. Okay, not a problem. We're inputting water, and it's going to get a dirty slurry. Or I guess normal slurry into clean slurry. I just call it dirty slurry because dirty, clean, whatever. But normal slurry. Okay, so water's the only input. That's done. Check. This is the one that gets a little bit more complicated again. The chemical dissolution chamber. So for this one, you basically just put in an ore, any ore you want, with sulfuric acid, and it will make that dirty slurry, which goes into the next one. Okay. How do you make sulfuric acid? So let's go look through this rabbit hole. So we need water vapor, and we need sulfur trioxide. Okay. Water vapor is easy. It's just water into that rotary thing, turns it into the gas form of water vapor in. So that's easy. Sulfur trioxide you make from sulfur dioxide and oxygen. Okay, we got oxygen already. That was the first step for the first machine. So that's taken care of. But to get the sulfur dioxide, we need sulfur. And a chemical oxidizer that make sulfur dioxide. Sulfur is a material that I'm using for mining. We got tons of it. Let's look. First, let's look at salt too. So salt, got tons of salt ore from the nether, and we're getting it also from the mining world in both those forms. All that works. I have it just being pulverized up into the salt. Cool. Now we're looking at sulfur. Sulfur you get from the nether, and you also get from HermitCraft from the overworld, and that's made into the thermal foundation sulfur right there. I believe, is there other types of sulfur too? I'm not sure. All right, so anyway, that's not important, but that's how you can get sulfur from mining, or you can use Mekanism. I don't have time to go through this today, but you can use Mekanism to go through this process. You can make cobblestone. I already have cobblestone being done right here. If I flip these on using extra utilities, we're able to just make tons of cobblestone. I'm going to shut these off because let me show you this deep store up here. We did this in another project from another day. Look at all the cobblestone. And you're able to then, in an elite factory for crushing, you can turn cobblestone into gravel. Cool. So then gravel, of course, as you know, can be turned into flint. You can do that through a grindstone. If you want to do it with Mekanism, let me see. In the enrichment chamber, you can change it back to cobble. With the crusher, this is what we're doing to make sand. But in the purification chamber, mixed with oxygen, you can make flint. Cool. So then flint can be made into gunpowder in the crusher, and that doesn't cost any gas, notice. That's actually a pretty good recipe to take note of. But then gunpowder, you can use to make sulfur in the chemical injection chamber with hydrogen chloride. We just showed how to get hydrogen chloride. So that's another way to get sulfur. You can also get sulfur through what we were doing previously, through blaze rods. There's lots of ways to get sulfur. So it may be a little bit of a pain in the butt to make, but it's doable. It's definitely doable. So sulfur, that's where we left off. So over here, I have an ender chest, which is getting sulfur sent in from our other systems. It's being pulled out by a transfer node, and it's going into a chemical oxidizer. The chemical oxidizer, that's the same thing that we use to make brine, the salt into gaseous brine. It can be used to make sulfur into sulfur dioxide. Cool. So then the sulfur dioxide is being spit over into a chemical infuser. Okay. So we have sulfur dioxide, which is actually, this is spinned backwards. And this is what I was talking about. I don't like these machines very much just because they have outputs that are required to come out of the front. So I have them all turned backwards. But just because I think that looks better. I do. I think that looks better. We have the sulfur dioxide going in the one side. On this side over here, I have oxygen, which was from here being sent over through that transfer node. So we have oxygen right there being changed from liquid into the gas. So sulfur dioxide, oxygen, both gases, sulfur trioxide. Cool. So then the sulfur trioxide, I have this part. I just didn't want to bother storing sulfur trioxide. I didn't think it was important. The sulfur trioxide I just have going up to this next one, this bad boy right here, which is taking the sulfur trioxide and water vapor, and it's being turned into, is this even working? Yeah, it's showing it's working. I hope it's not glitched out. Yeah. So sulfur dioxide, oxygen is sulfur trioxide. Is that what we're already making, I thought? Hold on. See what I mean? It gets confusing. So sulfur trioxide's going there. The trioxide is on this side with water vapor, and that is making this thing right here. Sulfuric acid, which is the last thing that we needed. I'm changing it from the gas into a liquid, going into this drum right here. And then below the drum, I have it going into the ender transmitter, which is being sent over to this right here. Boom. And then it's being sent in liquid into gas into the machine. And notice another pain in the butt once again. I had to put this on the side of it because I can't stick it in from the back. I have to do it from the side. But anyway, yes, that is it. That is everything. That is how you get 5 times ore production. Didn't that just make your head spin? I'll tell you, it made my head spin. So, I don't know, guys. Is this something that we really want to do? We're getting 5 times. That's cool, but that's a lot of stuff. And I am really eating through these materials. To tell you the truth, salt, like we're coring like a madman. And the salt and the sulfur, we're eating through it quick. I don't know, there might be something in this system, like it kind of feels like it might be like deleting some of it at sometimes. Like some of it's getting, when I'm transferring it between gas and liquid, like it's either bottlenecking it or some of it might be getting deleted or something. I don't know. I want you to tell me in the comments what you think. Now, yes, this is kind of a messy setup. And yes, I think compact machines would be very, very helpful with this mod, just to separate each section, and then we'd be able to just go boom, 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 boom. Things like this we'd want to have in mass production, like just a room full of these chemical oxidizers to speed up the process of the brine, to speed up the process of the sulfur dioxide, which actually the sulfur dioxide doesn't even seem like that's a problem. It doesn't, but why is this one? No, it's going there. It's just because it's getting pulled out here. But look, it doesn't go up very quick. It doesn't go up very quick. So let me know what you think. Let me know if we should continue with this or if this is just a crazy waste of time. I'm sort of leaning towards the waste of time. Like, it would be cool if you're in vanilla and you didn't have these massive quarries that could get stuff so quickly. But for the amount of stuff that goes into it, I don't even know if we'd even be able to keep up. Not to mention, too, things like this chemical washer, because there's no speed upgrades, at least that I notice, we probably would need like tons of these. And you'd also need this all set up for each ore, each type of ore. So I don't know. That's it in a nutshell. And that's also assuming that you guys already are caught up on all the previous things of Mekanism that we did. You can always check back in my older videos to watch me put together all that stuff. I'm pretty sure I did it all on camera. But yes, that process, it took me all day. And because of it might be the reason that we don't have more than one ModSauce this weekend. But I'm glad I went through it. I'm glad I did it. I've been wanting to do that forever. So, let me know in the comments, should we continue with this or should we just scrap that part of Mekanism? Some of Mekanism's cool, some of it's pain in the butt. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I'm down either way. I actually had fun with this. It was just stressful to get it all done in time for the video. So, what's going on now? Let me see how much time that took to do and if we have any more time in the episode. Yep. I think that's going to about do it. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you learned something. It was a pretty crazy process. I'm exhausted. I'm thoroughly exhausted. I'm pretty sure that you guys wouldn't have wanted to watch me put that all together on camera. In any case, we know how it all works now. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed, do not forget to leave a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe so you can be first to watch the episodes. Let me know what you want to get into come next episode. One thing I was thinking about that was kind of cool. There is a new armor that's part of Simply Jetpacks. Let's see if we can find it. Simply Jetpacks. I thought it would be kind of fun. I don't know if we should get into it right away. I don't know if I'm going to set up automating it. I don't know how long it's going to take to actually get that thing. There we go. Look at that. Dark Solarium jet plate. It's super cool. It's like the same thing that we have, but it's brown. The same thing that we have, but it's brown. It's like the Ender IO version. Ours is a thermal expansion, but it's like the Ender IO version of our armor. I thought it would be kind of cool to try and set up and craft and maybe get into some Ender IO. I don't know. Maybe you guys are all teched out. We could also go on an adventure. The Twilight just got reset on the map, so that could be a thing. Anyway, let me know in the comments and any other new stuff that's in the pack that you'd like me to check out. Thanks for watching. As always, enjoy your weekend and peace out.